Hello, Pastor Kyu.
This is weird, I said.
How do you feel?
Uncomfortable.
Oh yeah? How often do you get interviewed like this?
Not often.
But you get interviewed like this before?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, like where someone's recording you?
Yeah.
Really? So you've done something like this before?
I think so.
Okay. So, like we discussed before the video started, can I ask you what your heart for the church is?
Which church?
Hope Church.
Hope Church. I think that my heart for the Hope Church is really comes out of my journey in God. And my journey in God began with desire and longing to see a place where young people can find a place where they can encounter God, meet God face to face, treated with dignity and honor, find hope in God, not seen as a second-class citizens. Begun with that, because often what I saw in the churches is that churches focus on the older people, adults, and young people are considered like secondary, and their worship service was not encouraged or honored. And so, really, God put in my heart to see and long for a place where young people can come and meet God face to face, genuine encounter with God, and find their hope and dream in God. That's how it began. So I think that has now enlarged. I think went beyond. So I want to see in Hope Church a place, an authentic place where people meet God face to face, find who they are in God, and find who God is, and find their dreams in God, find their life in God. That means that you become a lover of God. That means you become passionate pursuer of God. That means that you person becomes enamored in love with God. Find God as their only joy, only way, only truth in life. And that from that place we begin to live fully in the way God called us to be, to come alive in God. So one of my prayer and desire for church is that it will be a place like that, not only for young people, for everyone, all the nations, all the people. People can come without any hindrance to come and meet God face to face, find their life in God, be transformed by the renewing grace of God, and find their life in God and dream in God. This is before all generations. That's one of my dreams for the church.
So, what does Hope Church have to offer, and how are we living out your dream?
I don't think we are living out my dream. I think that's the dream of God, God's dream. In some sense, every church is trying to do that. And every church is trying to do that. And so I think Hope Church, as we seek to do that, I believe God wants us to be a community that encourages that. Community that lives on value of encountering God, meeting God face to face, worshiping God, becoming more like Christ, where people are encouraged, invite others to come, the nations to come and see God. We become one in God, right? So as we do that, I think it'll be a safe haven, a refuge for many to come and find their rest, find their healing, find their restoration, find their transformation, find their grace in God. Yeah, I think Hope Church has a lot to offer, and I think it'll be a place where many will find their joy in God. I think the name God gave us is significant. I think we cannot live without hope, true hope. And God gives us true hope. We want Hope Church to be a place where people find their hope in God, God's hope in them.
And what does hope mean to you?
But I think that was a similar question as the one before. Hope is an acronym, and as you know, from Isaiah 56:7, hope stands for house of prayer for everyone, or all nations. In Isaiah 56:7, God says, "My house will be called house of prayer for all the peoples, all the nations." In the context of the verse is where it says even foreigners will be welcome, and the eunuchs are considered cursed people are welcome when they come to God.
Eunuchs? Eunuchs, people that can't have children.
Yeah, eunuchs, because in Old Testament, people coming to the temple, if you are foreigner, you cannot come into the temple to worship God. And if you are a eunuch, one of those people who are, your bodies, you are deformed, or you are unclean before God cannot come in. So, in many ways, they were barred from coming to worship God or not. In that Isaiah 56:7, the context is God is saying, those who people may consider unwanted, unholy, even they are welcome in God's house if they come and be God's people.
So basically, it is knowing that you are welcome no matter what.
Yeah, everybody's welcome in God's house, God's presence, and in God's presence we are made alive, we are renewed, and we find our new identity, new joy, and new life in God. Definitely. And so, and I think that the name hope itself carries a couple of thoughts. One is a house. I don't know, it's just is a place, dwelling place. House of God, dwelling place of God. More than a place where people come. It is. We want it to. It needs to be a dwelling place for God. God is honored most. It's a resting place for God. It's a place of prayer, meaning where people can come and ask God and inquire of God and speak to God and bring their needs and dreams before God. There's where a place of people encounter God, right? So it's for all the people, all the people, whether you're young or white or black or yellow or whatever color, whatever ethnic, whatever racial background might be, whatever economic status may be. All are welcome in that place. Include some of those, I think, that ideas in that. It will be a community focused on the community that encounters God. And that's where their dreams and needs are met because God draws near. He welcomes all people, all nations. That's what God wanted his house to be, his temple to be. So we are trying to do that. We want to be that.
Okay. And how can Hope Church grow? And what areas does Hope Church need to grow?
Hope Church needs to grow first as people. Each people need to become mature and growing in love of God. We become more like Christ. We become mature followers and lovers of God. Passionate. I think the word we use is passionate lovers of God. Not just religious people, members of church, but those who love God and following hard after God, passionate after God. But I think when we see God do that, it will lead us into His heart. His heart is for all people to come and meet God and know God. So I think that so the church will grow as we begin to do what we are called to be. We are to be fishers of men and women. We are to be lovers of people. Go and make disciples of all nations and people. When that becomes our lifestyle, when we love our neighbors as ourselves, as the greatest commandment says, then I think that we'll invite other people to come and encounter God, and we'll reach people. And so I think that's really a formula in the Bible anyway. We are becoming first a community that grows in God, is able to, and also actively, intentionally loves people, it invites God's sons and daughters, people to come become God's sons and daughters. Definitely will do that. It happens everywhere, in our workplaces, in our school, wherever we meet. We becoming His witnesses, becoming His sons and daughters, and boasting about goodness about God, reflecting the goodness of our God, living out. And we will be attracting people to God to encounter God. Our God is good.
So you'll say, would you tell people to come as they are?
Of course.
Okay.
People are always, they can only come as they are anyway. So they all are encouraged and invited to come as who they are. It is not our business to change people. It's God will do that.
But it's our business to love them regardless.
Yes. But love doesn't mean I say it's okay. Love doesn't mean that wrong is okay. Love really means, true love means that I'm able to tell the truth because I love, I care, and we love people as they are, each one of us as they are, as we are, but we also love them for what God has purposed for them, what is in future for them, because every one of us is becoming more than who we are.
So basically, love is not affirming that everything they do is good, but leading them in a way.
I think, for example, right, as a parent, I love my kids.
Yeah.
And as who they are, I love them for who they are. And when they do things which is harming them, hurtful for them, because I love them, I want to help them that they will be away from the hurtful way. They'll be able to love themselves better.
Because ultimately, sin is hurting us.
Yes. And so we live in a world that is broken, that we are always hurting ourselves, hurting others as well. I think true love is not toothless. It has teeth. And this is why I think Ephesians chapter 5 verse 18 says, speak the truth in love. We have to grow up in all aspects into Him. So as a house, we are inviting all to come, to be loved, and the love of God will make us more like our God. As we behold our God, we will become more like Him. We will be transformed by beholding Him and knowing Him. Definitely, God will do that in our lives. Do I look handsome today?
You look handsome every day, Pastor Kyu.
Thank you. I'm a vain person. I want people to like me too.
Oh yeah? People like you, Pastor Kyu.
I think everybody wants to be liked. Everybody longs to be affirmed and loved as they are. And that's true. And I think that our Lord Jesus lived that. That's who He is. And our churches as a community are supposed to reflect that.
And so, what's your thoughts about attention? Too much attention, too little attention?
About attention about what?
Because yesterday we talked about how social media is basically people crying out for attention, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And so, is giving people attention a good thing?
I think so. Attention is good, but I think that I have never thought about it in that way. But I think attention is helpful, but there is an appropriate amount of attention. I think we can be absorbed in ourselves. We don't want to be that. We don't want to help somebody to be absorbed in themselves either. And I think that we are at best, we live, knowing that we are loved, knowing that we matter, we are valued. But I think that our lives are best when we put values into others. See, and And I think there's a healthy ways of loving and caring for people. It's healthy ways of having right attention, right what you call. But I think sometimes because we want people to like us all the time, we may go beyond what we should be doing. And there's a boundaries.
And so one last
But
question.
we like you.
Oh yeah.
You put so much Facebook posts, and I don't read every one of them. It takes too much time.
Yeah.
But and so
I'm thinking about making a book one of these days.
good for you.
Like all the posts that Philip CO made on Facebook.
Who will read?
I think people will read it. I'll get like people to review it, like Bill Johnson and like Mike Bickle, and then they'll be like, "This is a really good book. You should read it." And then I don't know. Last question. Do you believe there's always hope for every single individual person living and who will live?
Yeah.
There is always hope for salvation for them.
There's always. I think there's always hope. That's what God is. And there's nothing impossible before God. And no situation is too dark or too broken where God cannot restore it. And so God can do it like that suddenly. But some often than not, it might take some process. Because I think there's a goodness in process. There's a good in process as well as sudden breakthroughs. And so I think there's hope everywhere. I think when we lose hope, we die. If we without life without hope, is actually life. Actually, it's not life at all. It's death. Actually. And so.
Would you say it's hell?
Huh?
Would you say it's hell?
I think having hope in life is, I think, a way of health, and I think way of healing, wholeness, restoration happens only with hope. I mean, you see the person who is sick. If they have no hope, they will not even, take care of themselves to get better. Any desire to get better, any desire to be well, includes hope. Always hope. Hope is necessary, and hope is needed everywhere. And I think that 8 years ago, President Obama, when he ran for office, he ran on the platform of hope, saying, we need hope. Hope for change, hope for better. And I think that people, knowingly or unknowingly were attracted to that message of hope. The message of hope is always attractive, always good.
So basically, people love the idea of hope, but knowing what it is and knowing how to apply it into our lives, something like that.
What do you mean? Yes, I think we all want hope,
Yeah,
but we don't know how to have hope.
yeah.
We don't know how to get hope, how to live in hope, how to build with hope. I think that's something that is not always easy to. It's something simple, but it's not always easy to understand and live in that truth. Anyway, so our Lord Jesus is hope of glory. Christ in us, hope of glory. So this background is really good.
Yeah. Okay, Pastor
McDonald's
Kyu.
coffee is not bad.
Not bad. We're
Yeah.
advertising
They're
McDonald's.
always giving me senior discount. Although I'm not that old.
They don't have to know, right?
There's a decaf.
Okay. Well, Pastor Kyu, thank you for your time.
Put some cream on your face. Alright? Wow.
Is there anything you want to say before we close it?
No?
Okay.
I love me. I love God. I love you.
Thank you, Pastor Kyu. I love you too.
You're getting better. You do well.
Peace. No pressure. Grace.
You're funny.